On this edition of UND Sports Extra, the UND men's basketball team goes toe-to-toe with Montana State and Montana on their home floor. Head coach Brian Jones will be with us to break it all down. Later, Travis Brewster and the women's basketball squad also took on the Bobcats and Grizzlies on the road. He'll join us for a full recap, and it's the first sign of spring. It may be mid-January, but the UND track and field season is in full swing. Coach Kevin Galbraith drops by to chat about his program. We tip it off, though, with head men's basketball coach Brian Jones. Brian, welcome back to the program. You entered last weekend going toe-to-toe against the two Montana schools in good position within the Big Sky standings and an opportunity to really spice things up for your team.
Yeah, we talked about it. It was moving week. I thought, obviously, we did a great job Thursday night. Played well Saturday, just down the last 3 minutes. That's why it's a 40-minute game, just came up short. But with that said, I still like the direction we're going. I'm really confident in our crew. They're still young. They're still learning what it's all about. But give Montana a lot of credit. Their program, it's just in their DNA. They win those games year in and year out. That's where we're striving to get to, and I'm really confident that these young kids will learn from the experience.
It was a good start for your team on Thursday night on their home floor against Montana State. In the first half, the story, Gino Crandall kind of centering the focus on this one, knocking down a lot of key threes early on for you.
Yeah, throughout the whole game, just rhythm shots. Our guys did a great job of making the extra pass. And when you get 10 toes to the rim like that, it makes it look easy.
Here, Crandall will knock down another three at the top of the key from Cortez Seals. Then Quentin Hooker is going to go to Crandall across the floor for another three. Crandall with a game-high 18 points, including 7 of 10 from the floor as your team built an 11-point lead at halftime. In the second half, another player steps up from beyond the arc, Corey Baldwin.
Yeah, he's really had some big games for us. Again, what you're seeing us playing through the weak side, a great pass on time, on target. And again, as I mentioned earlier, just making the extra one, but playing through the weak side, getting horse shots, as I like to say. Our guys and our shooters are going to make those pretty consistently.
And then some transition points coming up here as well as Hooker gets the steal and then chips it ahead to Baldwin for the lay-in. Baldwin with 13 points on the day as your team goes up 18 points at that point, and your lead would continue to grow into the second half with just some nice plays by your guys.
Well, it was. Again, what I think our team is the strength is their unselfishness and willing to pass the ball and share it, and I think that's what you're seeing here. That's a crafty move, obviously. That's a highlight reel move. But, you know, wanting and willing to do that, and now you're going to see us scoring off our defense. I know the start of the clip, Corey deflected that one and got transition again, another great defensive stop. Our defense was really, that's why the league got to what it was, because we had great hands on defense. We did a great job of helping one another.
85-68 the final. Quentin Hooker 17 points and 8 assists. Seals with a dozen off the bench, 5 of 7 from the floor, and Bernstein with 8 points and 8 rebounds. Would you say this was your most complete game of the season at that point?
It was. After watching on film, offensively, defensively, we had great pace on defense too, just great energy and hands. And on offense, as you saw in a lot of those clips, we were moving the ball, but we were moving bodies. We weren't jogging. We were sprinting through. So that, to me, was our best game of the season when it came to both sides of the basketball.
You're hoping to continue that momentum into Saturday's game against Montana. This game would start really slow for both teams. 30-26 Montana at the break. Your team would trail by 8 early in the second half when Connor Avance, he was key defensively for you. He made some buckets on the offensive end too that were key to keeping your team in this one in the second half.
Well, he's just a lunch pail type of guy. He's undersized, but boy, he plays extremely hard. And to me, this was his best game of his career so far. But you're seeing he does this every day. He plays so hard, he gets to exhaustion. And playing against a guy like Brunig is going to do that to him, but he was definitely key in what we were doing.
He did a great job defensively in the second half, keeping Brunig off the board for a good stretch as we see Quentin Hooker knock down a big three there to tie the game at 40. Then your team would grab the lead. Gino Crandall feeding Drick Bernstein for the lay-in. Then Hooker knocks down another three, and then Crandall's going to make a nice drive and a lay-in as your team built a 4-point lead.
Well, it was just again scoring off our defense. Then offensively, we're making the extra one. Again, here we're trying to get our feet to the paint. That's a tough shot, but it was a big basket at the time right there for us. But again, just these young kids, their confidence continues to go.
Crandall's got a knack for knocking down those shots between defenders. Then with 6 minutes to go, Cortez Seals with the layup here. Your team still up by 4 points, but over the final 6 minutes, your team 0 for 6 from the floor. They did go 6 for 6 from the foul line to keep your team in it, but Martin Brunig just too much down the stretch.
Well, what you're seeing here is the last couple possessions of the game. That's the difference right now. They have a senior who's a player of the year candidate. He touched the ball the last 4 straight possessions, and they scored every time. We turned it over twice, and they scored off our turnovers, and we missed 2 shots. We were shooting 50% until our last 4 possessions of the game, and that's where the separation was.
Yeah, 65-61, same score as these two teams had in Grand Forks a year ago. Hooker with 20 points, Bernstein 14-8, Avance, as you mentioned, 10-6, solid game for him. And really, I guess the lesson coming out of this one, as Broinig finished with 27-12, is learning how to finish, right?
No doubt, no doubt. Idaho, same situation. We executed. We didn't make foul shots down the stretch. End issues, same thing. These young kids continue to learn and grow, but you got to be able to play the last 3 minutes of the game, defend, value the basketball, and finish the shots. We executed, but we didn't finish, whether it's a foul shot or making a shot at the rim.
And you're going to see so many games. We see it all the time in Big
No
Sky.
doubt.
This is what it comes down to. So a learning experience for your group, something they'll go from. They're a young team. As you go on the road now this week, Northern Arizona, Southern Utah, you're facing the Lumberjacks first. What do you know that you're going to have to execute well to beat the Lumberjacks?
Well, we got to play hard. I think they haven't won as many games this year, but they're like us. They're young. They compete, and we got to value the basketball. We got to get back in transition. We got to rebound the basketball at the same time. But we just got to keep doing what we're doing. I'm really confident. We've been in every game. We just got to continue to get better, shore up some things late in the game. But that's still confidence. That's not always X's and O's. It's about just like last year, you got to have a guy who can make a shot or get a stop for you. Who's just continue to build that confidence within our group.
The feeling is definitely there.
No doubt.
This team is
excited.
on the right track. You're
No
on
doubt.
the right trajectory. Good luck in your games this weekend. We'll recap them next week here on the show.
Alrighty.
Thanks for your time. We're back with head women's basketball coach Travis Brewster right after this.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back. We inbound the basketball now to head women's basketball coach Travis Brewster. Yep. Coach, thanks for coming back on the program. Good to be back with you again.
All right.
You took on a road trip to the Treasure State of Montana this past week. You were coming in with some momentum after a win against Idaho State, your first in league play. What were your thoughts going into last week's couple games?
Biggest thing is we need to take care of business on the road. Obviously, when you win at home, that's great. But if you can steal a game on the road or steal 2 games, that changes the whole conference play. And we talked about what we needed to execute and what we wanted to accomplish. You know, obviously we went out there and since being Division I, UND women's basketball has not beaten a Montana school in the state of Montana. So even through the transition until being in the Big Sky Conference until now, that was something we were trying to accomplish.
You did come out of the weekend with some positive things, some things that you're just alluding to, but we'll start on Thursday in Bozeman against the Bobcats, and struggling shooting the ball in this one early on, but Fallon Frigie made some plays to keep you in it early on. Here working a nice screen and roll and laying it in for a tough 2 here.
Well, that's a great read by Fallon and Leah Zabla with a good post view. They communicated. Again, that's a quality shot there that Fallon took. So, you know, again, you look at that, she cuts down the middle lane, gets a great pass from Kyla Dyer. You know, that's just been a big key for us to play some good, solid basketball.
There was good ball movement on that second bucket by Frigie. We see some more good ball movement here as Leah Zabla will cash in with the lay-in.
You know, the nice thing is to see her be able to attack the rim and get there and get a finish. You know, she attacks the rim quite a bit, you know, and we want to see her knock down shots just like that. And for Leah, you know, it's all about her hitting the first couple, and she'll keep on plugging away.
Your team within 7 after that Zabla 3, but Montana State closes the first half strong. Hannah Cottle with the 3 here. Montana State up 13 at the half. You'd try to chip away in the second half. Fourth quarter, Zabla with the drive and lay in here to pull your team within 8. Then off of an inbound play, Maya Lloyd going to get a tough 2 down low. But not enough in this one, as Montana State would prove to be too much. Off the steal later on, Lindsey Stockton goes ahead to Jasmine Hamas, and Montana State just, it was the early deficit really that kept you away from this one.
We shot ourselves in the foot early in the game. We blew a couple key layups, I thought, off of offensive rebounds, even breakaways. You know, you can't dig yourself in a hole when you play on the road, and Montana State's been playing solid basketball. The big thing for me is when you're playing that type of team in their gym and they're rolling, you got to take care of business.
Zabla, 15 points, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. But again, the first half deficit too much to overcome as we transition into a game at Montana then on Saturday. A better start for your team and some nice perimeter shooting in the first half.
Well, we did get going. I thought good in and out action right there. Kyla Dyer knocks down that shot. Good pass from Maya if she was being triple teamed. And the other thing about it is when we got the ball inside and reversed it, we got quality looks. Fallon knocks down a key shot from a pass from Samantha Roscoe, and they were playing good team basketball.
Dyer coming up with another 3 here from the top of the key as your team builds an 11-point lead in the first half. Move to the third quarter now, and Maya Lloyd helped to pace your game in the second half.
Well, she's starting to figure out where she can get some scoring opportunities. Being doubled and triple teamed, it's tough. And you got to figure out how to play through that adversity and play with your teammates.
Lloyd with another 2 coming up here on the short jumper to give your team a 7-point lead. In the fourth quarter, things get interesting. Hannah Doran pulls Montana within 1, getting the hoop and the foul here. Then we see Dyer answering at the other end with a long-distance 3 here to give your team a 3-point lead. Then with 21 seconds to go, this is a key play and a nice play by Samantha Roscoe here as she gets the feed. I don't know how she gets this one up and in.
Well, Sam's got good hands. It's a good pass from Michaela. They made the key shot right there. And I thought it was a good play by her.
She was deep on that one, and here's a deep 3 from Macaulay Feller. This one ties it up at 59. Then take us through the timeout with a half of a second to go, what you were trying to set up here.
Well, we drew this play up. We talked about Maya rejecting the screen. The biggest thing we needed to have happen was that Leah needed to sell the screen. And she came up there and she sold it. Just great acting job by her. And then Michaela made a great pass, And I got to give the team credit. I put us into a tough situation. I called the timeout when I shouldn't have. And they said, Coach, we got it. Just relax here a second and we'll take care of business. And you know what? They bailed me out, and then they executed a play down the stretch and got us a win.
So there it is. Yeah, your first win on the road against a Montana school. Dyer with 19 points in this one, 6 of 12 from the floor. Lloyd finished with 14, and Stephanie Smith, who we didn't see in the highlights there, had 6 points and 11 rebounds as she helped you out on that end of the floor. And, thoughts coming off of this victory now, Coach?
The biggest thing for me, it's an opportunity to build momentum. We talked about it. It's not a signature win by any stakes, but it's momentum builder. And we have to build on it. We have to continue to work. There's no reason we can't battle and get ourselves back in the top half. We got to get ourselves in the top half. Then once we get in the top half, then we worry about the next part. But this game here itself, I thought we made some key shots. We moved the basketball well. But the biggest thing for me was defensively. We really played good team defense.
You're back at home this week for a pair. You start with Northern Arizona on Thursday, a game you can see right here on Midco Sports Network, and then you're at home again on Saturday against Southern Utah. Coach, thanks so much for your time. Good luck this week. We'll recap your 2 home games next week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, we're back with much more right after this.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
The UND football team has hired its newest addition to the coaching staff following the departure of defensive backs coach Marty Rogers. Bubba Schweigert has hired Travis Steps to take over those duties for his program. Steps coached at Southern Illinois for the last 12 seasons, including 6 years working closely with Schweigert during his tenure as defensive coordinator with the Salukis. In addition to coaching D-backs, Steps has also coached linemen and linebackers groups at Southern Illinois. Coach Schweigert is looking forward to reuniting with Steps and what he brings to the Fighting Hawks.
I feel like he's going to bring a lot of experience to our staff to help us add to coverages and types of coverages we need to be implementing to be more effective against not only opponents in the Big Sky, but also in our preseason non-conference games. And so very excited to have him aboard.
And the women's hockey team resumed regular season play following more than a month off between games within the WCHA. UND traveled to Duluth for a pair of games against the Bulldogs this past weekend. In the series opener, UND would go on to win 2-1 thanks to goals by Sam Hansen and Amy Menke. Shelby Amsley-Benzie saw her shutout streak come to an end at 202 minutes and 50 seconds, but she made 21 saves to earn the victory. The series finale also featured a UND win. This one a 4-3 overtime victory after surrendering the game-tying goal with just 22 seconds remaining in the third. Grayson Hershey scored with just 35 seconds left in the overtime session for the W. UND outshot the Bulldogs 48-19. They are back and on the road against WCHA leading Wisconsin this weekend. Well, stay with us. Track and field coach Kevin Galbraith is with us right on the other side of this break.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back. It is our first sign of spring. That's right, as we welcome in track and field coach here at UND, Kevin Galbraith. Kevin, thanks for dropping by and spending a few minutes with us so we can talk a little track and field and maybe warm people's thoughts and hearts despite the cold weather outside as your indoor season has begun. It started back on December 5th at Brookings, South Dakota. It'll be a while till your group can get outside. As you focus in on the indoor season, though, how have things been progressing, I guess, so far for you?
Well, very well. We've had a great leadoff. We this last weekend we started very well, and even at the meet in December, we had several great performances. So we're continuing to build and grow as a program, and we're making progress and going the right way.
I mentioned it'll be a while till you guys do get outside. You're focusing on the indoor season now, and one aspect of that is the new high performance center on campus. And there's been much buzz about the benefits that that's providing for the football program. Another very key piece of that, though, is the benefits that your teams are going to benefit from. Are you seeing some of those benefits already, Coach?
Absolutely. If you just want to look at, I can relate it to a performance for this last Saturday. If you look at Nate Peterson, he won the 3K. Basically won it wire to wire. Gun went off every step of the way. He just ran away from the field. And he's had that kind of talent. So that with that performance, he's ranked number 1 in the Big Sky Conference right now. Won the meet easily. Could have run faster if he had people to chase or for people to push him. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of thing we've known he's had that in him. In the past, we'd train outside, and when the snow first came, we'd our momentum would sort of grind down, and we'd kind of lose a little bit of focus. But now with the HPC, we can do the training that we need to. So Nate had that kind of talent, and he's a North Dakota kid. He's tough as nails. He's not afraid of the cold, but what you can do, you're limited by what the weather will let you do. Now that's not the case. So he's competing at a higher level, training at a higher level consistently, and he's able to demonstrate what he has inside him. So there's just one example. By having the HPC to train in, he's ready to do some amazing stuff.
And you'll have the ability to host events finally. Yes. That will be nice when that day comes around. Yeah. You mentioned last weekend you were at the Bison Classic in Fargo. It was a successful weekend for a lot of your athletes on the women's side. Heather Harrower had a sophomore, had a school record in the 600. And Natasha Brown continues to excel, winning the 60 and the 200-meter dash is a strong performance on the women's side for you.
Absolutely. When you're starting with 2 school records, Natasha tied her school record that she ran at the conference at the end of the year. So again, I have to go back to the HBC, what it allows us to do training-wise. She's starting at a level that she left off at the previous year. So she runs 7.53, equaling her record from the day before. She shares a 3-way tie, ranked first in the 60 in the Big Sky, has outright ranking of number 1 in the 200. So that was a great performance. So an outright school record, tying a school record, starting where we were the previous year, you can't get any better than that as a coach. You just, when we see where we are now compared to where we were last year, I'm very encouraged.
Another strong performance on the men's side, too, includes Jimmy Evers, senior for you. Talk about his weekend that he had.
A breakthrough. In the 60 meters, we win and lose by hundredths of a second, and he took more than a tenth of a second off his 60 hurdle race, which is an eternity in a 60 race, and went from 8:38 to 8:22, and is ranked second in the conference right now. That's his fastest opening ever. I mean, he opened up with a huge PR. Again, it just shows what we can do now when we have the space, the time, and the warmth.
All right. Well, it was a good start, and we hope that the indoor season continues to be a success for you, Coach, as you press on. You're back in action on this coming weekend, back down in Brookings at South Dakota State. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
All right, we're back with more right after this.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota, RideLCars.com, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Midco Sports Network once again has you covered on all the UND action coming up this week. Our coverage begins on Thursday with a Big Sky women's basketball tilt as North Dakota plays host to Northern Arizona. Tip-off for that one slated for 7 o'clock. And then it's a full weekend of hockey on Midco Sports Network as UND will try to regain its lead in the NCHC. The Fighting Hawks host Colorado College. Our coverage starts at 7:30 on Friday and 7 o'clock on Saturday. We hope you can tune in for all the action this week. Thanks for watching UND Sports Extra. We'll see you next time.